everyone. Welcome to the Intentional Youth Ministry channel. So glad that you've decided to spend a couple of minutes with us today. I wanted to talk to you about something that is near and dear to my heart. And regardless of where you're at in student ministry, if you're just starting out, I believe what I'm going to share today could really help you just to be more intentional with the way that you start to build your student ministries. Maybe for some of you, you've been doing student ministry for a while, but maybe this will be kind of a new, fresh approach that you haven't thought about before that maybe will help you be even more intentional with the students that you're reaching. And so I want to talk to you today about what I call the 25-50-25 principle. And to be honest with you, when I first started out in student ministry, I was not nearly this intentional. Honestly, I had a heart for young people and I wanted to reach them, but I didn't necessarily have the best ways to do that, if you will. And so something I've learned over time is this idea of 25-50-25. So let me explain that to you. So I believe when I'm creating student ministry programming and events, this is the lens that I would look through. So I would say 25% of what we offer students needs to be fun, right? Hopefully you agree that youth ministry should be the funnest, most exciting ministry in the local church. If you don't believe that, maybe you need to check your calling and make sure that you're called to student ministry. But in all honesty, really it is the funnest ministry in the church. So I believe that 25% should be fun. 50%, so the 50 equals 50%, and that should be relational. And so I'm just going to tell you guys honestly, I believe that life change happens in the context of relationships. And I think about Jesus' ministry and what he did all throughout his ministry. Really, it was relational ministry, right? We're called to do life with people. We're called to engage students and do life with them and have relationship with them. And so 50% relational ministry. Then the other 25 is spiritual. So a 25% emphasis on spiritual, right? And really focusing in on the more spiritual things of prayer and worship and all those kinds of things, right? And the Bible. And so I want to be clear on this because some of you might be like, well, hold up, 25% spiritual, that doesn't seem right. Let me help you paint a picture for you really of why I say it this way. So I grew up in a church that I am so grateful for because I honestly wouldn't be the man that I am today and the leader that I am today. But I think about growing up, and the reality was our church went very deep, but we didn't always go very wide. And so we didn't always have a lot of unchurched, unreached people that we were trying to reach. So if that is your heart, if your heart as a youth pastor, as a church leader, is to reach young people, to reach the lost and the unchurched, then I think we have to have our approach shift a little bit. And so for me, everything was so deep, everything was so spiritual. It was great. It was great for my personal walk with God and who I've become. However, I never invited a friend. I never felt comfortable inviting somebody who was lost or who was unchurched. And we never really reached the unchurched and the lost because it just wasn't geared towards them, right? On the other flip of that end of the spectrum is I've been also a part of youth ministries in the past where everything was fun, right? Everything is fun. It's lighthearted and it's fun and we just want to get people coming, but there was no depth to it. There was no discipleship happening. And to me, if you're like me, if you have a pastor's heart, I look at that and I go, what is the point? Like God didn't call me to be a glorified babysitter. God didn't, if I wanted to create fun experiences, I could be a cruise director, pre-COVID. I could have been a cruise director or something to that effect. But the reality is this, as a pastor, I feel like it is I want stuff that's fun, so that's going to be a focus, and we're going to do stuff that's fun and that attracts the unchurched. 50% relationship, because listen, relational ministry, that's where life change happens. This is the way that Jesus did ministry. This is discipleship. This is doing life with people, with our students, with our leaders. And then the other 25% spiritual. We're going to have an emphasis on spiritual. I want to make sure as a pastor that I'm taking my students somewhere. I would hate to have students come, be a part of some cool programming that we do. It's fun, but then not have any spiritual depth or discipleship happening. So that has to be a component to that. Now listen, when I give you these numbers, maybe in your context, that's not the right, that's not the right percentages for you. Maybe it's a 30, 33, 33 kind of a thing, or, 60, 40 of two. I don't know what it is for you. I'm hoping this helps you though, to be a lens. And because what it'll do is when you start to budget, when you start to plan events, when you start to program your services and your sermon series and all the things you do for students, if this becomes the lens and we go, wait a second, this is all of our focus is spiritual. Well, that's great for the kids who are coming, but what about the unchurched that we want to reach? On the flip of that, you might go, man, we have all this fun stuff going on, But man, we are not thinking about helping our students grow in their spiritual journey and their walk with God. And so I just hopefully this becomes something that will be beneficial to you, really a lens, if you will, to think about how you build your student ministries. Now, there is a second side to the 25-50-25 principle, and that really comes into a place of how to gauge if your student ministry is really healthy and thriving. But I'm going to hit that next time on here, so make sure you tune in for that. Hope this helps you. Hope it encourages you. And man, I love you guys, and praying that you continue to effectively reach young people for God. Take care.